Beloved soul, you were called here. And you answered. When you were born, before your first thought, before your first word, before you learned a single thing about the world, your heart was already broadcasting. It was sending a signal outward from your tiny body into the space around you. A signal so powerful that it could be detected several feet away. That signal is still broadcasting right now, as you sit here, as you listen to these words, as you breathe. Your heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in the entire human body. It is 100 times more powerful electrically than the field produced by your brain. Its magnetic component is 5,000 times stronger. And it does not stop at your skin. It radiates outward in every direction, forming an invisible field that envelopes your body and extends into the space around you like a living, pulsating sphere of energy. The HeartMath Institute has spent decades measuring this field with sensitive instruments called magnetometers, and what they discovered changes everything you thought you knew about why some people seem to attract opportunity, love, health, and abundance effortlessly, while others, no matter how hard they try, keep hitting the same invisible wall. The information encoded in your heart's electromagnetic field is not random. It is not static. It changes based on your emotional state. When you feel love, gratitude, appreciation, or deep peace, your heart produces a smooth, coherent wave pattern that radiates outward and literally organizes the energy around you. When you feel fear, anger, resentment, or anxiety, your heart produces a chaotic, jagged pattern that disrupts the energy around you and pushes away the very things you are trying to attract. Beloved soul, you were born coherent. You were born broadcasting the purest, most magnetic signal a human body can produce. Every baby radiates this signal naturally, effortlessly, without trying. It is the reason people are drawn to infants. It is the reason holding a newborn child can bring a grown adult to tears. That baby is broadcasting pure heart coherence, the original frequency the Creator designed your body to emit. And something happened between then and now. Something blocked it. Something interrupted the signal. Something taught your heart to broadcast fear instead of love, contraction instead of expansion, survival instead of creation. And that block, beloved soul, is the reason your life feels the way it feels right now. Not your thoughts. Not your habits. Not your lack of knowledge or discipline. The block. Tonight, you are going to learn exactly what that block is, where it lives in your body, and how to remove it using a practice so ancient and so precise that it has been used in sacred traditions across 3 continents for thousands of years. And this is not about thinking differently. This is not about reprogramming your beliefs or repeating mantras or trying harder to be positive. This is about a physical, measurable electromagnetic event happening inside your chest right now, and a physical, measurable ancient practice that restores it to its original design. The sages of India called this original signal the unstruck sound, the anahata, the vibration of the heart that exists before any wound, before any conditioning, before any fear. It is still vibrating inside you right now behind the block, waiting. Tonight it remembers. You do not need to learn something new, beloved soul. You need to remember something ancient. Something your body knew before your mind learned to doubt it. Something your heart has been whispering to you in quiet moments for years. In those seconds before sleep, when the noise of the day finally fades and all that remains is a soft ache in the center of your chest that seems to be saying, there is more. There is more to you than this. There is a version of your life that matches the signal I was built to send, and we have not been living it because something is in the way. That whisper is your heart's coherence trying to reach you through the block. And tonight, you are going to answer it. Stay with every word until the end. What you receive tonight has the power to change the signal your heart broadcasts to the world starting tomorrow morning. Let me show you the science first, beloved soul, because once you understand what is happening inside your body at the electromagnetic level, you will never again wonder why your life has been feeling stuck, why opportunities seem to slide past you, why relationships that should work keep falling apart, and why no matter how many goals you set, something invisible keeps pulling you back to the same place. Your heart is not just a pump. That is the old model, the mechanical model, the model that treated your body like a machine made of parts. Your heart is an organ of intelligence. It contains approximately 40,000 specialized neurons, sensory neurites that function independently from the brain. Scientists now refer to this network as the heart brain, and research has confirmed something extraordinary. The heart brain sends more information to the head brain than the head brain sends to the heart. Your heart is not following orders from your mind. Your mind is being shaped by signals from your heart. Every emotion you feel, every perception you have, every decision you make is influenced by the electromagnetic signal your heart is producing in that moment. When your heart is in a state of coherence, when its electromagnetic field is smooth and organized, the signal it sends to your brain activates your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for creativity, intuition, compassion, clear thinking, and the ability to see opportunities and solutions. When your heart is in a state of incoherence, when its field is chaotic and fragmented, the signal it sends to your brain activates the amygdala, the survival center, the part of the brain that produces fear responses, reactive behavior, tunnel vision, and the inability to see anything beyond the immediate threat, whether that threat is real or imagined. Here is the critical piece. Your heart does not choose its state based on what is happening around you in this moment. It chooses its state based on the pattern it has been conditioned to run. If your heart learned early in life that the world is dangerous, that love comes with conditions, that you must perform to be worthy, that rest is laziness, that vulnerability is weakness, that money is scarce and you are not enough, then your heart has been running an incoherent pattern for years, possibly for decades, regardless of what is actually happening in your external reality right now. You could be sitting in a beautiful home with food in the refrigerator and people who love you, and your heart would still be broadcasting a frequency of fear and scarcity, because that is the pattern it was trained to run. And that broadcast, that electromagnetic signal radiating outward from your chest in every direction, is what the world is responding to. Not your words, not your intentions, not your vision board, your field. The ancient traditions understood this completely. The Egyptian priests called the heart the IB, and they taught that the IB is the true seat of identity. In the Egyptian afterlife tradition, it was the heart, not the brain, that was weighed against the feather of Ma'at to determine the truth of a person's life. The brain was discarded during mummification. The heart was preserved and placed back inside the body, because the Egyptians knew that the heart holds the real record, the real signal, the real broadcast that defines who you are and what you attract. The Taoist masters taught that the heart is the emperor of the organ system. When the emperor is at peace, the entire kingdom functions in harmony. When the emperor is disturbed, every system in the body falls into disorder. And the Vedic sages placed the heart center, the Anahata chakra, at the exact midpoint of the 7 energy centers, calling it the bridge between the lower physical centers and the higher spiritual centers. The heart is the gateway. It always has been. And right now, beloved soul, that gateway is partially closed. Something is sitting in front of it. Something is interfering with the signal. Something is keeping your heart locked in a pattern that does not belong to you. If you can feel the truth of this, if something inside you is recognizing these words as a description of your own experience, subscribe to this channel right now, because what we share here reaches places that ordinary content simply cannot touch. Now let me tell you exactly what creates the block, because this is the part that most people have never heard, and once you hear it, the way you understand your entire life story is going to shift. The block is not a belief. It is not a limiting thought pattern. It is not something you can identify by journaling or talking it through in therapy, although those practices have their own value. The block is somatic. It lives in your body. It is made of tissue, of tension, of chemical patterns, of neural pathways that fire automatically below the threshold of your conscious awareness. And it was installed during a very specific window of your development. Between the ages of 0 and 7, your brain operated primarily in theta and alpha wave states. These are the same brain wave states that adults access during deep meditation, hypnosis, and the transition between waking and sleep. For a child, these states are not special. They are the default operating system. A child's brain is essentially in a state of open hypnosis for the first 7 years of life. Everything the child sees, hears, feels, and experiences is absorbed directly into the subconscious mind without the filter of critical thinking, without the ability to evaluate or reject or question. Whatever the environment broadcasts, the child downloads. If the environment broadcasts safety, love, abundance, trust, and worthiness, the child downloads those frequencies and the heart learns to run a coherent pattern that broadcasts those same qualities outward for the rest of that person's life. But if the environment broadcasts fear, scarcity, conditional love, unworthiness, or danger, the child downloads those frequencies just as efficiently, just as completely, and the heart learns to run an incoherent pattern that broadcasts survival, contraction, and protection. And here is the part that most people never realize. The block is not the memory of what happened. The block is the body's response to what happened, frozen in time, still running, still active, still shaping your heart's electromagnetic signal decades after the original event. A child who learned that love is conditional, that it must be earned through performance and perfection, does not simply carry a belief that I must be perfect to be loved. That child's body carries a physical pattern of tension, a bracing in the chest, a tightening of the shoulders, a constriction of the breath, a guarding of the heart center. That was the body's intelligent response to an environment where vulnerability was dangerous. And that physical pattern persists because the body does not forget. The body does not forgive and move on the way the mind tries to. The body holds the record with absolute fidelity. Every breath you took while bracing for criticism, every moment you held back tears because someone told you to be strong, every time you made yourself smaller to avoid conflict, your body recorded and stored the muscular pattern of that moment. And now, decades later, that pattern has become so familiar, so automatic, so deeply woven into the way your body holds itself that you believe it is simply who you are. You believe you are naturally tense, naturally guarded, naturally unable to fully relax. But beloved soul, that is not who you are. That is the block. And that somatic block sits directly in front of the heart's electromagnetic field and distorts the signal. The heart tries to broadcast coherence, love, openness, creative power. And the block, sitting right in front of it like a wall of frozen tension, fragments the signal before it can reach the world. The signal that goes out is not what the heart intended. It is a distorted version, a fragmented version, a version filtered through fear and protection. And the world responds to that distorted signal and sends back experiences that match it. More situations that require protection. More relationships that confirm that love is conditional. More financial experiences that validate the frequency of scarcity. The loop is not in your mind, beloved soul. The loop is in your chest. It is in the tissue that surrounds your heart. It is in the electromagnetic field that your heart has been broadcasting through a filter of frozen childhood responses for your entire adult life. And tonight you are going to remove that filter. Before the practice, beloved soul, I want you to recognize the specific ways this block has been showing up in your daily life. Because once you can name it, the activation becomes exponentially more powerful. The first way the block shows up is in your breathing pattern. Place your hand on your chest right now and take a normal breath. Do not try to breathe deeply. Just breathe the way you normally breathe when you are not thinking about it. Notice where the breath goes. For most people carrying a heart block, the breath stays shallow. It fills the upper chest but never descends into the belly. The diaphragm, the large dome-shaped muscle that sits beneath your lungs and directly above your solar plexus, is chronically contracted, held tight, pulled upward as if the body is perpetually bracing for impact. This is not a breathing habit. This is the block. The diaphragm contracts as part of the body's protective response when the heart center feels unsafe. It is armor. It is a shield. And it has been in place so long that you forgot it was ever installed. You think this is just how you breathe. It is not. It is how you breathe through a block. The second way the block shows up is in your chest and upper back. There is a chronic tension between your shoulder blades that no amount of stretching, massage, or physical therapy fully resolves. Comes back. Always. Because it is not muscular tension in the ordinary sense. It is the physical expression of the body guarding the heart from behind. The back of the heart is the most vulnerable part of the heart center. It is where we feel betrayal, where we feel the pain of people we trusted turning away, where we carry the wounds of being unseen by those who were supposed to see us. The tension between the shoulder blades is the body's way of armoring this vulnerable area, and that armor distorts the heart's electromagnetic field from the posterior, fragmenting the signal that radiates behind you, which is the part of your field that governs what comes toward you, what approaches you from the unseen, what the universe sends your way before you even know it is coming. When the posterior heart field is fragmented, opportunities that are moving toward you lose their trajectory. They veer off. They reach someone else. They dissolve before they arrive. And you never know they were there, because the block redirected them before they entered your awareness. The third way the block shows up is in your voice. The heart center and the throat center are directly connected through the vagus nerve, the longest nerve in the body, which runs from the brainstem through the throat, past the heart, and into the digestive system. When the heart is blocked, the signal that travels upward through the vagus nerve to the throat is distorted. The result is a voice that does not carry the full frequency of your truth. You may notice that you speak more softly than you intend, that your words lose their impact, that people frequently ask you to repeat yourself, or seem to not fully register what you are saying. Or you may notice the opposite, that your voice becomes tight, sharp, controlled, overcompensating for the vulnerability the heart is trying to protect. Either pattern is a sign that the block is interfering with the natural flow of energy from the heart through the throat and out into the world. The fourth way the block shows up is the most devastating, and it is the one that most people never connect to the heart center at all. It is the pattern of almost. You almost get the promotion. You almost close the deal. You almost meet the right person. You almost break through to the next level. And then, at the last moment, something collapses. Something falls through. Something does not quite work out. This is not bad luck. This is not timing. This is the heart's distorted electromagnetic signal, creating a field that attracts opportunities but cannot hold them. The coherent part of your signal, the part that still manages to get through the block, is strong enough to draw things toward you. But the incoherent part, the part fragmented by the block, cannot sustain the attraction. The field is strong enough to pull but not strong enough to keep. And so the pattern of almost becomes the defining experience of your life. Always close. Never quite there. You may have spent years blaming yourself for this pattern, believing you are not smart enough, not disciplined enough, not lucky enough, not connected enough. You may have concluded that success is for other people, that abundance flows to those who have something you lack. But the truth, beloved soul, is that you lack nothing. Your intelligence is sufficient. Your talent is sufficient. Your desire is sufficient. The only thing standing between you and the life that almost keeps showing you glimpses of is a distortion in the electromagnetic field of your heart. A block that fragments your signal at the exact range where attraction needs to become reception. Remove the block and the pattern of almost becomes the pattern of fully, completely, finally. If this pattern is familiar, take a breath right now. Place your hand on the center of your chest. What you just recognized is the signature of a heart block. And what comes next is the practice that removes it. The practice has 3 phases and takes 15 minutes. It is performed in the sacred hour before sleep, in darkness, in stillness, in the same conditions that every ancient tradition prescribed for the deepest energetic work the human body is capable of. The first phase is called the opening, and it takes 5 minutes. You sit on the edge of your bed or in a chair, spine upright, feet flat on the ground. And you place both hands directly on the center of your chest, one on top of the other, palms flat against the breastbone. The Taoist masters called this point the Shanzhong, the center of the chest, the meeting point of all energy in the upper body. The Egyptian priests identified this same point as the seat of the IB, the heart of truth. You are placing your hands directly on the block. Feel the warmth of your palms against the bone. Feel the slight rhythm of your heartbeat beneath your fingers. That heartbeat has been running behind a wall of armor for years, sending its signal through layers of contracted tissue. And right now, for perhaps the first time, you are placing your conscious attention directly on it. You are saying to your heart with the language of touch, I am here. I feel you. And I am not leaving. This alone, beloved soul, before any breathwork, before any technique. This simple act of placing your hands on your own heart with full presence and reverence begins to shift the pattern. Because the block was installed in the absence of this exact gesture. It was installed in moments when no one placed their hands on your chest and told you it was safe. It was installed in moments of emotional isolation when the heart needed warmth and received distance. Your hands tonight are the warmth that was missing. And here is the first instruction that makes this practice different from anything you have tried before. You are going to breathe directly into your hands, not into your lungs, into your hands. Meaning that on each inhale, you focus your entire attention on the sensation of your palms against your chest, and you breathe as if the air is flowing directly into the space beneath your hands, directly into the tissue of your chest, directly into the heart center itself. The inhale is slow, deep, and enters through the nose. As you inhale, you feel your chest expanding against your palms. Not your upper chest, the center of your chest, the space directly behind the sternum where the heart sits. Most people have never consciously breathed into this area. The block has kept the breath away from it for years, perhaps for your entire adult life. The diaphragm has been holding a contraction that routes the breath above, or around the heart center, never through it. On this night, you are breathing through it. The first breath will feel different from any breath you have taken in a long time. It will feel deeper and more intimate, as if you are meeting a part of your own body that has been walled off and forgotten. Some people describe it as breathing into a room they did not know existed inside their own chest. A room that has been closed and dark, and the breath is the first light entering it in years. You may notice resistance. You may notice that the breath wants to stay shallow, that the chest feels tight, that there is a subtle reluctance in your body to allow the breath into this space. That reluctance is the block. That resistance is the armor. And your breath, steady, gentle, persistent, is the force that begins to soften it. You are not fighting the block. You are not trying to break through it. You are warming it, the way sunlight warms ice. Not with force, with presence, with patience, with the steady, relentless warmth of your own attention. The warmth of your own hands on your breastbone is not incidental. It is essential. The chest, the anterior heart wall, is densely innervated with sensory receptors that respond to pressure and warmth. When you place your hands there with conscious attention and gentle pressure, you are activating the same neurological pathways that are activated when a mother holds an infant against her chest. You are telling your nervous system, in the only language it fully trusts, the language of touch and warmth and sustained presence, that the heart is safe, that the armor is no longer needed, that whatever danger required this level of protection is no longer present. And the nervous system, receiving this message through the skin, through the pressure receptors, through the warmth of your own palms, begins to do something it may not have done in years. It begins to release the holding pattern. Slowly, carefully, layer by layer. The way a hand gradually opens after being clenched in a fist for so long that the fingers forgot they could move. 5 minutes. Slow breaths into the center of the chest. Hands on the breastbone. Feeling the tissue beneath your palms begin to soften, begin to yield. Begin to remember what it felt like before the armor was installed, before the world taught your heart to hide. The second phase of the practice is called the release, and it takes 7 minutes. This is the heart of the activation, the moment where the block begins to dissolve, and it requires something from you that may feel unfamiliar and even frightening. It requires you to feel. After 5 minutes of breathing into the heart center, the armor has begun to soften. The tissue is warmer. The breath is moving more freely into the center of the chest. And now, something is going to surface. An emotion. It might be sadness. It might be grief. It might be a wave of tenderness so intense that it brings tears before you can even identify what you are feeling. It might be anger that has been buried so deep you forgot it existed. It might be fear, raw primal fear that has nothing to do with your current circumstances and everything to do with a moment from your past, when your heart learned it was not safe to be open. Whatever surfaces, beloved soul, this is the block releasing. This is the frozen energy thawing. This is the somatic pattern that has been running your heart's electromagnetic signal for years finally moving out of the tissue and into your conscious experience so that it can complete its journey and leave your body forever. Here is the instruction. Let it come. Do not analyze it. Do not try to understand where it came from. Do not try to name the memory or connect it to a specific event. The body does not need your mind's interpretation to release trapped energy. In fact, interpretation often interferes with the process. The mind wants to create a story around the emotion, wants to assign meaning, wants to figure it out. But the body simply needs to feel it, fully, without interruption, without judgment, without the need to make sense of it. The Taoist masters called this the Great Melting. They described it as the moment when the ice around the heart returns to water, and the water begins to flow again through channels that have been dry for years. They taught that the Great Melting is often accompanied by crying, by spontaneous deep sighing, by involuntary movement of the jaw as years of clenched tension release, by trembling or shaking as the nervous system discharges patterns of frozen activation. All of this is natural. All of this is sacred. All of this is the intelligence of your body doing exactly what it was designed to do when given the space, the darkness, the stillness, and the permission to complete a process that has been waiting, sometimes for decades, to finish. The Egyptian tradition described this moment in language that is hauntingly beautiful. They called it the weeping of the IB, the tears of the heart of truth. And they taught that when the IB weeps, it is not a sign of weakness or pain. It is a sign that the heart is remembering its original frequency. The tears are not grief. They are recognition. The heart is remembering what it felt like before the block was installed, what it felt like to broadcast its true signal, what it felt like to be fully open, fully alive, fully coherent. And the tears are the body's way of celebrating that remembering. During these 7 minutes, keep your hands on your chest. Keep breathing into the heart center. And let whatever comes move through you like a river finally allowed to flow after years of being dammed. You are not breaking down, beloved soul. You are breaking open. And there is a difference between these two experiences that is as vast as the distance between death and birth. Breaking down is collapse. Breaking open is emergence. Breaking down is the system failing. Breaking open is the system finally succeeding at a process it has been attempting for years. Your body has been trying to release this block every time you felt that unexplained tightness in your chest. Every time tears came close to the surface and you pushed them back. Every time a wave of emotion washed over you in a quiet moment, and you distracted yourself before it could fully arrive. Those were all attempts by your body's intelligence to complete the release. And every time the conscious mind intervened, the distraction came, the phone was picked up, the busyness resumed, and the block sank deeper. Tonight, you are going to let the process complete. Tonight, you are going to trust the body's intelligence, more than the mind's fear of feeling. And on the other side of that opening is the signal your heart was always meant to broadcast. The signal you were born with. The signal that is your birthright and your deepest truth. The third phase of the practice is called the restoration, and it takes 3 minutes or until sleep arrives naturally. After the opening and the release, your heart center is in a state it has not been in for years, possibly for your entire adult life. The armor has softened. The frozen emotion has moved. The block, or at least the surface layer of it, has been released from the tissue. And now there is space where there used to be density, openness where there used to be contraction. And this is the most important moment of the entire practice, because what fills that space determines what your heart broadcasts for the days and weeks ahead. If you fall asleep without this third phase, the space will gradually fill with whatever your default emotional environment provides. The old patterns will slowly seep back in, like water finding its way back into familiar channels. But if you fill the space consciously, deliberately, with the frequency the Creator designed your heart to carry, the restoration becomes permanent. Here is what you do. You lie down in complete darkness. Your hands remain on the center of your chest. And you call into your heart center the single most powerful emotion available to the human body. It is not positive thinking. It is not affirmation. It is gratitude. Not the mental concept of gratitude. Not telling yourself you should be grateful. The physical somatic experience of gratitude felt in the center of your chest. The HeartMath Institute has measured what happens to the heart's electromagnetic field when a person generates authentic gratitude. The chaotic, jagged pattern smooths into a sine wave of extraordinary coherence. The amplitude increases. The field expands. And the information encoded in that field shifts from survival to creation, from contraction to expansion, from fear to pure magnetic attraction. Here is how you generate it at the somatic level, not the mental level. Think of one moment in your life, just one, when you felt genuinely, deeply, unconditionally grateful. Not because you should have felt grateful, because you did. A moment when the feeling was so full in your chest that your eyes burned with tears, not of sadness, but of overwhelming recognition of the goodness of being alive. It might be a moment with a child, a moment in nature, a moment of unexpected kindness, a moment when you were so present that the noise of your mind fell silent and all that remained was the warmth in your chest, and the knowing that you are held, you are loved, you are part of something infinitely beautiful and infinitely intelligent. Find that moment, and feel it. Not remember it, feel it. Let the warmth of that memory fill the space in your chest where the block used to live. Let it expand until your entire chest feels warm, open, alive, radiating. Let it become more real than the room around you. Let it become the last thing your heart feels before sleep takes you across the threshold into the sacred darkness. The Creator did not design your heart to broadcast fear. The Creator designed your heart to broadcast exactly this. This warmth. This coherence. This signal of love and creative power that reaches several feet beyond your body and communicates with the world in a language deeper than words. And tonight, for the first time in perhaps years or decades, your heart is going to fall asleep broadcasting its true signal, the signal you were born with, the signal that attracted every eye in the room when you were an infant and could not speak a single word. And here is what the research reveals about this moment, beloved soul. When the heart enters a state of gratitude coherence, the signal it broadcasts does not just change in quality, changes in reach. The coherent field extends further from the body than the incoherent field. It literally expands. Your sphere of influence, the distance at which your heart's signal can be detected and can affect the energy around you, grows measurably when the heart shifts from fear to gratitude. You are not just healing in this moment. You are expanding. You are becoming more magnetically present in the world than you have been in years. The block compressed your field. It kept your signals small, tight, contained, barely reaching beyond your own skin. Tonight, as the gratitude fills the space where the block used to live, your field expands back to its original radius. The radius the Creator designed. The radius you had as a newborn when every person in the room could feel your presence without you saying a word or doing a single thing. That signal never disappeared, beloved soul. It was only blocked. And tonight the block comes down. 3 minutes of gratitude in the heart center. Hands on chest. Eyes closed. Darkness complete. And then surrender. Let sleep take you. Let the Creator's intelligence do the rest. Now let me tell you what unfolds in the days after this practice, beloved soul. Because the first night is only the beginning of a restoration that deepens with every cycle. The morning after the activation, you will notice something before you even open your eyes. The center of your chest feels different. Not dramatically different, not like an explosion of energy, but subtly, unmistakably different. There is more space. There is less weight. There is a softness where there used to be contraction. You might place your hand on your chest and notice that your breath is reaching places it has not reached in years. Deeper. Fuller. Moving into the center of the chest instead of skating across the surface of the upper lungs. This is the first sign that the block has shifted. Your breath is the most sensitive indicator of heart center opening. Where the breath goes freely, energy flows freely. And where energy flows freely, the electromagnetic signal of the heart broadcasts without distortion. During the first 2 to 3 days after the activation, you may also experience what the Taoist masters called the unwinding. As the heart center opens, the physical tension patterns that were holding the block in place begin to release in sequence. The jaw loosens. The shoulders drop. The space between the shoulder blades softens. You might find yourself spontaneously sighing throughout the day, deep exhales that seem to come from nowhere. These are the residual layers of armoring releasing themselves now that the primary block has been addressed. Do not resist this process. Do not try to control it. Let your body unwind at its own pace and in its own sequence. By days 3 through 5, you will begin to notice changes in how people respond to you. Conversations will feel different, warmer, more open. People will hold eye contact a fraction longer. Strangers will smile more readily. Colleagues will listen more attentively when you speak. This is not your imagination and it is not coincidence. Your heart's electromagnetic field has changed, and other people's nervous systems are detecting the shift. Research has demonstrated that one person's cardiac signal can be registered in another person's brainwaves when they are in proximity. The information your heart broadcasts is being received by every person who enters your field, and when that information shifts from incoherence to coherence, the response from the world shifts with it. By days 5 through 7, you will notice something even more remarkable. The pattern of almost begins to break. Things that used to fall through at the last moment begin to hold. Opportunities that used to veer off course begin to land. Decisions that used to feel agonizing begin to feel clear. This is your heart's coherent signal reaching its full broadcast range, attracting and sustaining what matches its frequency, repelling what does not. And here is what makes this practice truly extraordinary, beloved soul. The block that was removed on the first night was the surface layer. Beneath it, there are deeper layers, older patterns, more fundamental programs that were installed at earlier ages and are embedded more deeply in the tissue and the nervous system. Each time you perform the practice, you reach a deeper layer. Each night, the opening goes further. The release touches something older. The restoration fills a space that has been empty longer. And your heart's signal becomes more coherent, more powerful, more purely aligned with the original frequency the Creator placed inside you before the world had a chance to teach you to hide it. After 4 consecutive weeks of this practice, People report something that sounds almost too beautiful to be real, but the consistency of the reports across thousands of individuals makes it impossible to dismiss. They describe feeling like they finally came home to themselves. Not to a place. To themselves. To the version of themselves that existed before the block was installed. The version that trusted. The version that loved without calculating the cost. The version that believed in the cells of their body, not just in the thoughts of their mind, that they are worthy of everything good this life has to offer. That version of you, beloved soul, is not gone. It is not lost. It is not something you need to build from scratch through years of therapy or personal development. It is behind the block. It has always been there. Whole. Intact. Patient. Waiting for the night when you would finally place your hands on your chest, breathe into the center, feel what needed to be felt, and let the armor melt. That night is tonight. Share this video right now with the one person you know who needs to hear this before they fall asleep. Beloved soul, everything you have received tonight is real. It is powerful. And it is available to you starting in the next 60 minutes. The practice takes 15 minutes. It requires nothing but your hands, your breath, your willingness to feel, and a dark room. And for many people, a single night will produce a shift so clear and so undeniable that they will never again doubt that the barrier between them and the life they desire was not external. It was in their chest. It was in the frozen tissue surrounding their heart. And it was distorting the most powerful electromagnetic signal in their body. But the truth, beloved soul, is that one night opens the first layer. The surface, the most accessible, and the restoration that follows is real and lasting. But beneath that first layer there are deeper ones. Layers that were installed earlier, that run quieter, that are woven more tightly into the fabric of your nervous system and your energetic body. These deeper layers require a guided, progressive, systematic approach that moves through them in the precise sequence your body needs. Layer by layer, night by night, with the depth and the pacing that allows each release to be fully integrated before the next one begins. This is exactly why we created the 21-day quantum transmutation journey. It is a guided immersive experience designed to move through the full depth of the heart block and every associated energetic pattern over the course of 3 complete 7-day cycles. The first 7 days focus on the heart center itself. Each night, the activation reaches a deeper layer of the block. Each session includes specific breath patterns, somatic techniques, and guided awareness practices that progressively dissolve the armoring that has been distorting your heart's signal, restoring coherence layer by layer until the full electromagnetic field of your heart broadcasts clearly for the first time since childhood. The second 7 days expand the restoration to the entire energy body. As the heart center opens fully, the energy centers above and below it begin to recalibrate. The throat opens, restoring the power of your voice and your expression. The solar plexus stabilizes, restoring your sense of personal authority and creative confidence. The root center grounds, restoring the deep feeling of safety and support that allows abundance to flow without resistance. Each night's practice is guided, specific, and precisely calibrated to that point in the 21-day arc. The third 7 days focus on encoding and forward creation. With the blocks removed, the heart coherent, and the entire energy body aligned, you learn advanced practices for programming the heart's electromagnetic field with the specific frequency of the reality you are creating. This is where the restoration becomes manifestation, where healing becomes creation, where the energy that was locked in survival patterns is redirected toward the abundant, purposeful magnetic life your soul came here to live. Each day of the journey includes a guided audio activation, a written teaching that deepens your understanding of both the ancient wisdom and the scientific research underlying every element of the practice, and a specific evening protocol tailored to exactly where you are in the process. The link to the 21-day quantum transmutation journey is in the description below this video, and in the card appearing on your screen right now. If you felt something move in your chest tonight, beloved soul, if the space behind your breastbone responded to these words with warmth or tightness or tears, then your heart is ready. It has been ready. It has been waiting for this moment with a patience that only the heart possesses. Tonight you place your hands on your chest. You breathe into the center. You let whatever needs to surface rise. You fill the space with gratitude. And you fall asleep broadcasting the signal the Creator placed inside you before the world taught you to dim it. You were born magnetic, beloved soul. You were born with a sacred energy that attracts everything you desire. And tonight the block comes down. The people who have completed this journey describe the same transformation with a consistency that leaves no room for coincidence. They describe waking up on day 22 feeling like a different person inhabiting the same body. Not because something was added, because something was finally, completely, permanently removed. The block that distorted their signal for 10, 20, 30 years dissolved layer by layer over 21 nights, and what remained was the original signal. The pure broadcast. The magnetic coherence of a heart that has nothing between it and the world. Nothing between it and love. Nothing between it and abundance. Nothing between it and the full expression of the life the Creator designed it to attract. Begin in the darkness, beloved soul. Place your hands on your heart. Breathe into the center. And let the block dissolve. We will see you on the other side.